The pinnacle of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Well, I wanted to do a video. I created an animation to sort of hopefully give a visual representation of the dual timelines or multiple timelines and parallel universes, parallel realities, if you will, and to hopefully make a distinction between that and the fact of different density levels, you know, where the spiritual realm is, the heavenly realms, things like that. For the first demonstration, I'd like us to look at what we typically think of as timelines. In this animation here, you see we got the main timeline here in the middle, and I believe that there's really good evidence to support that times when intuition will give us a pre-warning that lets us know we're on a timeline that's trouble. You know, either it's going to hurt somebody else, we can make a change and sort of move to a different timeline in that sense. But in the quantum understanding, it's really at the moment you're making the decision that the quantum wave function, as they like to say, you're popping the quiff. You're taking all those possibilities, but they all collapse down into whatever your choice you make is. And it's the solo timeline at that point. Because if you think about it, if we actually had decision A and B or A, B, C, and every time we make that decision, we branch off, think of how complicated that would be. Because every time you make a decision, which is every millisecond basically, you think about you're going down the highway, any moment you could jerk the wheel, ram into these other people, affect their timelines, and wreak havoc, and it's just way more complicated than I believe it really is. Now, like I said, I believe that there is a bit of intuition, precognitive intuition that can warn us. We get a bad feeling something's going to happen. We maybe decide to change our plans, do something different, wait a few minutes and then leave, things like that, and we can avoid disaster. And I think this happens on an unconscious level all the time. And if you just look at the cars and the traffic and the people going around all the time, it's just amazing that, you know, even the way the birds fly in flocks and things like that, it's just amazing how so much can go on without, you know, disaster happening at every moment, you know, which it is all over the world, but it could be a lot worse. And if you've seen the double slit experiment, you can see how there's a quantum wave that once it's observed, which if you make a choice and then act on that choice, you're going to observe your choice you made, and it's going to collapse down into that one timeline. And I believe it's probably more like that, because that would allow for these other timelines of at least possibilities or potential that you could take. It also allows for you to switch timelines in the sense of, you know, it's just still you, but you jump over and avoid certain disaster. And that would deal with sort of the parallel timelines or the parallel realities or the multiple timelines. Now the multiverse, I believe, is also confused with this sometimes, and I believe there is a multiverse, but I don't believe it's so much a duplicate of the same universe over and over again, like you know, like in Sliders, where they go through the wormhole, they come out, and it's just a little bit different. I believe that, you know, each universe probably has its own set of laws, own set of individuals, and just completely different. So for the higher dimensions and like ascending to a higher vibration or frequency into a less dense frequency, I've got this animation. Here you see the figure on the left is like a human, where we are. The one on the right is like an angel or a higher frequency, like a fifth density being, and then you can see that they are never there at the same exact time. Now, if you can kind of sort of speed this up 1,000,000 times or even 1,000 times, you can see how they can occupy the same space at the same time without interfering with each other. And the higher density, or should be lower density, higher frequency character on the right would be able to see the lower frequency one. This would be like the way angels can see us, or the way crafts disappear. You can sort of see how these waves could sort of shift a little bit to where they could just not really change the speed of their frequency, just appear at the same time and begin to be visible to us. So it's more like a shift in their frequency. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And you can see how this could go on and on. You could have another even higher level being that could possibly be appearing where this being couldn't see the other one. So I think that's a good way to think about it. So if you think of it that way, we're trying to increase our frequency through love and hope, in hopes of all ascending together. And so I just wanted to create this animation, these two animations, to sort of make a distinction between the two. Nobody really has proof of either of these, or definitive proof at least. So they're all still theories, but I think it's much easier to understand when you sort of have a visual reference to look at.